am that I am. Master Anna of magical service. Also known as John's soul, John's wholeness. I am all that John is, which is so much more than the human that you see on your screen or whose voice you hear. So very much more. John and I have been talking about this message for several days now. He's been feeling into it. And now it's time for us to talk about it here. In our class on how to allow your life to change, we talked a lot about the river. Mother Mary talked about floating in the river, this beautiful experience, about allowing the river to carry you. And then as we relaunched the class recently, I talked about how you are the river. Or perhaps better said, your soul is the river. I am John's river. And John is me. So John is the river also. Oh, but he forgot when he came into this human experience. He forgot about the river. He forgot about me. Oh, and that's not a bad thing, dear friend. It's nothing to be ashamed of. For you see, you needed to forget when you came into this human experience. Otherwise, you would not have been able to stay. It would have been too much for you. Remembering who you really are, you would not have been able to be here. You would have either gone crazy or just left your body. So you forgot, by choice. You forgot who you were. And now, if you are here, you are remembering. Because now it is time. Now. We did this beautiful class on receiving Christ consciousness. Because that is now available. The seed that you helped Yeshua to plant 2,000 years ago has fully blossomed now. It is available to you. You are bringing it in to yourself. You are integrating it. For the first time ever, now you are able to be the river. dear friend, that is the key to entering the new earth. In fact, that is the only way there right now. Well, it really is the only way. You have to let the river carry you. You have to let go of all these things the human thinks are so important. That doesn't mean you have to let go of life or let go of the beauty and the joy that is part of the human experience. But you have to let the river, the all that you are, carry you. So let's talk a little bit about the river. How the river flows. We'll ask John to add this session to the How to Allow Your Life to Change class. Because it's so relevant. And at the same time, we will release it as a free soul talk. So, how the river flows. You see, that's what the river does. It flows. That's all it does. Along the way, it has many, many different experiences. And it just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. The river isn't trying to get anywhere. It doesn't care because it knows that eventually it's going to get everywhere. It's not trying to get to the sea. It knows it will one day. And then for a time it will be the sea. And then it will evaporate and become a cloud. And it will become raindrops over a mountain somewhere. And it will begin its journey again as a river. It never ends. Water, dear friend, like you, water cannot be destroyed. It can change its form. It can steam away. It can freeze in a block of ice. But everything changes, and sooner or later it will be water again. The steam condenses into drops, fall on the earth, rejoin the river, flows to the ocean, the cycle repeats continuously. It's all the river. You, dear friend, you are your own river. you can get comfortable with being the river, with how the river flows, the more easily your life will flow for you. You see, the river doesn't care. The river's just being the river. It loves the experience. It has no agenda. It has no purpose. It doesn't even have a direction. It just keeps flowing. The human asks, well, what if I go and dam up the river? Then what? No, the river doesn't care. It doesn't even recognize barriers. It comes up against your dam and it just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. Oh, if a part of it, like you, gets impatient, you might think you're not going anywhere because you forgot that you are the river. Then you might think that that barrier has power over you and is somehow stopping you and you have to do battle with it. You wear yourself out battling against the barrier. The river doesn't care. The river just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. And sooner or later, it flows over that barrier. Or it finds a path around it. It's not looking for one, but it's the natural course of a river. It's the natural path of a river, the path of least resistance. That's where the river goes. Always downhill. Unless it's turned into steam or it's percolating up through the rocks in the mountain. Then downhill becomes uphill. And that's just how it is. The river doesn't care. The river doesn't battle with anything. It doesn't struggle with anything. And it can't be stopped. Maybe it can be delayed for a very short time and in the river's terms. But it can't be stopped, ever. It just flows and flows and flows. Maybe you can freeze it into a big block of ice at some point. Stops it for a moment. The river doesn't care. It's a new experience. Sooner or later, the sun shines, the ice melts, the river continues its journey. It just flows and flows. And it keeps on flowing. Dear friend, it's time to be the river. You look around right now at the chaos in the world, at all the change happening. You worry. You don't know what to do about it. You look within yourself at your own body. For many of you, that body is falling apart. Trying to figure out how to fix it, how to make it last a little longer. We'll ask John to include with this message a link to a beautiful music video on YouTube. Of this man walking across the desert with his big iron shell around him. And the shell starts to break down. He gets out and puts up a big scaffold around the shell and goes to work trying to fix it, trying to put it back together, fix all the problems, and it's a rusty mess. The more pieces he fixes, the more pieces fall off. That's you, dear friend. That's your body right now. Finally, in this video, the big iron shell, it just disintegrates. The man gets down off his scaffold, looks at it, tosses his tools away, and walks away. And suddenly, life sprouts around him. The desert turns green and vibrant, full of beauty. And everything changes. And that's where you are at, dear friend, if you're here. It's time to let it all go. And be the river. You see, within the river, there are many, many, many different perspectives. One of those perspectives is you. You're a part of the river. But you're a part that has eyes and ears and a body and senses you don't even know about yet. You are not here to accomplish anything. You never have been here to accomplish something. But you love accomplishing things within this environment, and that's a beautiful thing. But that's not why you're here. You're here because you are the river, and this was the natural flow of the river. And now it's changing. Everything is changing. The entire landscape is changing. And it's time to let the old go. Let yourself be the river. Become the new. There's something different in this change, for indeed this is the change. It's been prophesied for eons of time. The old biblical prophets, they wrote about it. Yeshua spoke of it in his life, which you know as Jesus Christ. It has been the hope of humanity for eons. The change from the old the old earth and all of its all of its difficult ways, into the new earth of beauty and peace. Well, that change is here, dear friend. Has already begun. Because now the energies are ready, the consciousness is ready, and it is time. Change has already begun. The doors were opened several years ago. The energies have been flowing in, integrating. You could say the river has already begun its journey through that land. Oh, many are fighting it. Because they know that in the new land, things don't work the way they used to. There is no place in the new earth for power. None at all. Because now we know power is an illusion, and it always backfires on you. Always. So in the new earth, there is no place for power or power games. There's only a place for people who recognize their own sovereignty, their own beauty, who have no need to push other people down in order to feel themselves. Everything is changing, dear friend. There's only one way to get there without a lot of trauma. That is to allow yourself not just to float in a river, but to become the river. To be the river. It's not such a hard thing to do, because it's already you. But it helps to understand what's happening when you realize that the river has no purpose. It has no agenda. The river does not make choices. It doesn't ever ask itself the question, should I do this or should I do that? No, it just flows. And eventually it does everything. But it just flows. Always taking the path of least resistance. Always flowing downhill, you could say. Wherever that takes it, it doesn't care. It's all a beautiful experience for the river. We've been teaching this for years now. Through John, through others. No, I say we because Mother Mary is right here, as are dear Tobias, dear Yeshua, dear Saint Germain, so many other dear friends, dear masters. We've been talking about allowing. For a long time now. And maybe, just maybe now you're starting to get it. Allowing is simply what the river does. It flows. That doesn't mean it doesn't have any fun along the way. It doesn't mean that it just gives up. Sometimes John talks about surrendering to his soul, to the river. People say, yeah, but what about that person over there? They say they're surrendering, but it's like they're just hiding from life. And indeed they are. Because it became too much for them. They became confused. That's okay. The river has room for that. But for you, you're beyond that. It's not about giving up. No, it's about giving up your agendas and not giving up your life. When you let go of your agendas, you can live so much more free, so much deeper, can experience so much more fully. You can discover so much more beauty in life. But the river just flows. That's all it does. It doesn't choose anything. It doesn't figure anything out. It doesn't decide which valley it should run down. It just flows. Wherever the path of least resistance takes it, that's where it flows. If at some point it finds that it went the wrong way and there's nowhere to go, it wasn't the wrong way. The river knows that. It just keeps flowing. And eventually, it finds a new path. Because it just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. How do we bring that into the human life? You have all these needs, all these requirements, all these deadlines and agendas and appointments and needs. Or you think you do. We've been working with John on this for most of his life. There was a time was in 1997. Long time ago. Almost 30 years. John was waking up. He was learning that he is a creator. Well, really, he was learning that his soul is a creator. The human is not. The human only knows how to push things around. That's all it can do. It's your soul that is the creator. But you, dear human, are part of your soul. So you are a creator. But you have to open up to a deeper place. So, John was waking up. He was in this place where he found himself. He discovered the discussion group about the Abraham Hicks material. Beautiful material. His first experience of listening to channeled entities. And he found himself writing email most of the time. And his mind was going, I really need work. I need to do something for money. What am I going to do? John found himself in this place of writing emails, wondering what he was doing, loving what he was doing. He discovered, in that group, that he actually had an ability to say things clearly, to say things in a way that people could hear. He was stunned. For him, words had always been a struggle. He had no idea that he could do that. So he was discovering a whole new part of himself. And he knew he had to keep doing that. And at the same time, he didn't know how to pay the bills. But end of the month came. An unexpected mail showed up with just enough money to pay the bills. The next month, unexpected money came from a different source. He didn't ask for it. It just came. And the month after that, a friend called him and asked him if he could do some work around her house during the summer. Fix up a few things. He was happy to do that. Got him out of the house a little bit. And it paid the bills for another month. And John was thinking, this is so cool. It's just coming to me. And then it stopped coming. Because he was so frustrated because it was just enough. Just barely enough. So it stopped coming. Soon he was a month behind on everything. No, he always had enough for food. Always enough for the gas that he needed to go where he needed to go. Just enough. But he couldn't pay the bills. At the end of the month, he was getting desperate. And he talked with a friend. A friend said, "I don't know what to tell you. The only thing that comes to mind is maybe it's time to ask God for help." John went, "What?" He hadn't thought about that for a long time. He knew, by then he knew so clearly that God is not what he was taught. So did this friend, so it shocked them both when she said that. He got off the phone, he took a deep breath. He said, "Dear God, I don't even know who you are anymore. Don't even know how to ask for help. But I sure need some." And then he let it go. Went through the rest of his day. That night he had a dream. In this dream, he was riding on a train. He was living in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and there's a tourist train that runs between Santa Fe and a little town about 20 miles away. And he was on that train. He was with friends. They were having a good time. He was up on top on an observation deck. The bright sunny day, the only care he had in the whole world in that moment was keeping his cowboy hat on his head in the breeze. He was going along and he looked down and there was a place ahead of the train where the tracks disappeared. They'd been removed or paved over. He didn't know what. They just weren't there for a stretch. And he thought they were going to crash. And he looked down. There was this old man driving the train. This old white-haired man. And the man did something. And the train just crossed over that gap and was on the tracks again. Like nothing happened. John shook his head. What just happened? And then it happened again. Another gap in the tracks. Same thing happened. Nothing. The train continued on. It was on the other side of the gap. It was on the tracks, going along. John was amazed. The train came around a corner at the edge of town. And suddenly there was a huge barrier right in front of the train. Couldn't quite tell what it was in the dream, but it could have been a mountain, a boulder, whatever. It was a massive barrier and he knew there was no possibility other than to crash. Except this old man driving the train did something. He didn't know what. And they were on the other side of the barrier, going on down the tracks, and he looked ahead, and the tracks were shiny and clear as far as he could see across the plains. And then he woke up. He went, wow, that was an intense dream. And he got up, got in the shower. Halfway through the shower, he realized what it meant. And he broke down and cried. He realized that the train was his life. Yeah, I've been calling it a river, but a train is a beautiful metaphor too. He realized that the train was his life. And God was driving. How that worked. In that moment in his life, it's the best words he had for it. Since then, he's realized his soul was driving the train. And his job, his only job, is to enjoy the ride. His job is not to accomplish anything. His job is to enjoy the ride. Have dinner with his friends in the dining car. Watch the scenery go by. Watch the sun as it sets or rises or whatever. That's his job. That's what he's here to do. He's not here to take responsibility for the world or anything in it. Because that just feeds an illusion. He's not here, even to keep his body healthy. Most of you can't even do that anymore because you're letting your body go in a whole new way. You're simply here to enjoy the ride. In other words, you are here to flow along the path of least resistance. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't take on a challenge once in a while. When it's the path of least resistance. You can have a blast climbing a mountain, and it's a lot of hard work. But it's also the path of least resistance because it's what you're feeling drawn to do. It's what you're excited about doing. But if you're not excited about it, you shouldn't be doing it. That's the hard part for the human. Human thinks it has to struggle. And it doesn't. The struggle just gets in its way. It feeds the illusions. It feeds the fears. It rips your body apart. Even worse than the changes that are happening. Your job is to enjoy the ride. And that's what John learned that day. And the next day he knew he was going to have to move because he couldn't pay the rent. But he went to breakfast with some friends he'd agreed to visit with over breakfast. He spent his very last pocket change on that breakfast. But he was happy. As he drove home, he was thinking about packing and what he needed to do, and something inside him went, just be still. Don't worry about it right now. He got home and there was money waiting for him at home. I won't go into the details now, it doesn't matter, but there was a big chunk of money waiting for him, and it was enough to pay all of the past due bills plus everything for the coming months. And it changed John's life. It was totally unexpected. I did a little bit of work for it, but not much. Left him lots of time to do his writing, to learn slowly, to feel his soul. And his life has never been the same since. Now he knows that place where he calls it jumping off a cliff, where you've been struggling along trying to make the old systems work, and they just don't. Until you're worn out. You just can't do it anymore. And you come to this place where the path ends. You look out, you're at the top of a tall cliff. You look down and all you can see is the hard, sharp rocks at the bottom. You look back, there's nothing back there for you. And you realize there's only two choices left. You lay down and die where you are, or you step off the cliff. John stepped off the cliff when he realized he had to spend his time writing. He couldn't go back to work the way he had worked before. He just couldn't. He knew he would die soon if he did. So he spent his time writing emails in a discussion group. Helped a lot of people, actually. A lot more than he was aware of. And then he discovered he had wings. He discovered that something a lot bigger and wiser than him was driving his train. This old man, he'll let you drive your own train if you want to, if you insist. But it will crash and burn. because you don't have the skill to get it past the barriers. You don't have the magic to make it work, but your soul does. Visualize it however you like. The old man was the appropriate vision for John in that moment. Might be something entirely different for you. It might not even be a train. It might be a river, or an airplane, or whatever. But the point is, your job is to enjoy your life. Your job is to flow, even when it hurts, to just keep flowing. Oh. The river doesn't care if it hurts. It just flows and it passes. All hurts pass. All beauty passes. Everything passes because the river flows and it cannot stop flowing. Even if on the surface it seems to pause to fill up a lake, it's still flowing. And it always flows. And it always brings you exactly what you need. Even though that might not be what you think you need. Will always be what you actually need. And it will show up in ways that you could not possibly have imagined. There's different times the money came to John, and so many others throughout his life. He had no idea. He could not possibly have imagined that particular potential. Could not possibly have seen how it would come. But it did. And that's how it works. Your mind tries to imagine, tries to visualize, it tries to conjure it up. It doesn't work. Because the only thing your mind knows how to do is to take the past and try to project a better version of it into the future. And it does not work. It just projects more of the same into the future, and that's what you get. Until you stop. Stop trying to create your future. And instead live the creation that you have right now, because you created it. Every bit of it. Every joy, every hurt, every ache and pain, everything in your life right now, you created it. Because you are that powerful. I don't like that word, but you know what we mean. That's what a creator you are. Everything in your life right now you created. And when you stop trying to fix it, and instead just flow with it, be in presence with it. John said he learned from that dream his job is to enjoy life. Well, even that is too much of an agenda. And he knows that now. Now, his job, his real job, if you want to call it that, is to simply be in presence with his own creation as it is right now. To stop trying to fix it, to stop trying to make it better. Simply to be in presence with it. And that opens up the energies. That allows your soul's creation to go to work, and it changes everything. Now, maybe not in a moment. You can't just say, okay, I allow the pain. Damn it, why isn't it gone yet? It doesn't work. No, you be in presence with the pain. Allow it to be there for however long it is there. You allow it to be there. Truly allow it. Because that's how the river flows. The river doesn't try to change anything. It simply rolls along. We'll call this message How the River Flows. Or how the train rolls. However you want to see it. It's the same thing. We like the river because the river truly has no agenda. The river changes the earth, not by trying to change the earth, but simply by being present in it. Simply by flowing. That's what it does. Dear friend, your job right now is to flow with the river. Now you look out at the world, all the horrible things going on. They're only horrible according to your human judgment. And we won't get into that right now. We'll just say, if you want to change the world, then flow with it. Be in presence with it. Bring your consciousness and your light into it. That's all. No agendas. No fixing. It's time to stop. Stop fixing anything. Because that only feeds the illusion. That locks you in. John can't bring himself to go to the doctor these days. Because he knows that whatever the doctor tells him is simply going to lock in the old body. And eventually it's going to hurt worse and worse and worse. And he'd rather let it go. And dear friend, you can let your body go now without leaving. You are entering into a whole new reality where everything is different. Can't tell you exactly what that means in human terms. But we can tell you that it's more beautiful than you can imagine. So can you let it happen? John wants to be clear. We're not telling you not to go to the doctor. You need to trust your river. See where it takes you. Where is the path of least resistance for you? It's different for everybody. This is about trusting you. not me, certainly not John, not anybody else. It's about trusting you. What is your path of least resistance? Flow with that. Allow it to carry you where you didn't know you needed to go. Watch what comes that you didn't know you needed or didn't know how it could come. The river might be the most powerful force on your planet. The river has changed everything many times over in the course of its flow. But it never set out to change anything. It simply flows. That's all. And you, dear friend, when you learn to allow your true flow, there is nothing in life that can resist you or that can block you or hurt you, because you just flow. And like the river, like the water, you cannot be destroyed ever in any way. You exist, and you cannot not exist. So what is there to lose? Be the flow. And that will carry you right into the new earth, which is quickly developing into an incredible place. Because you are helping to build it. You are helping to imagine it, not in your mind, not in your human imagination that can only conjure up variations on the past. No. You, as your soul, are imagining it into being right now. And you, the human, will soon be there. And it's not a different place. At least at this moment, it occupies the same space as the old earth. It will still be aware of the old earth doing its thing. But it will no longer touch you unless you choose to interact with it. You will be free. So, flow with the river, dear friend, because that's what you are. Allow the flow. Without agenda. Without a purpose. Simply be in the flow. Be the flow. That's the same as being in presence. It's exactly the same. And in that, your light shines so brightly. Not with agenda, but just with gentle, beautiful illumination. And that's what the world needs right now. No, the world does not need your attempts to fix it. It does not need your pity or your sympathy for the victims. Or the abusers or anyone else. It simply needs your gentle, compassionate, non-judgmental light. It has no agendas. It's just another level of the river. It just flows. That's what light does too. It just flows. So be the river. Trust the river. You might hear a waterfall coming around the corner. Can you trust that? Can you trust that you can go over that waterfall and not be damaged? And that it just might launch you into a whole new reality. You see, when John stepped off of those cliffs along the way, he discovered he had wings. He discovered a whole new reality. Things he'd never thought of before opened up for him in ways he'd certainly never imagined. And everything worked out in beautiful ways. Oh, and he touched so many people along the way with his love and his light. He changed a lot of lives, a lot more than he has any awareness of as a human. Because he was willing to just ride the train. Just be the river. Therefore, going forward is going to be so important. Because it's the only way forward. If you battle with the battlers, with all the craziness in the world right now, they'll cheer you up and spit you out. Just be the light, be the river, and they won't matter. That gives them the freedom to go on down their paths until they find the wisdom they're looking for, the wisdom you've already found. And it sets you free from your interactions with them. It sets you free from your limitations. Brings you into, call it heaven on earth. Because that's what the new earth is. It's exactly what it is. Heaven on earth. And that's where you're going. If you allow it. If you're willing to flow like the river. And so it is.